dónde la vamos a hacer? ¿Aquí?
Sí, señor.
Ok.
Mejor, más presidencial allá.
Hello, Mr. President. Spanish?
Great things the government of Colombia and the DEA are hoping to do together here.
Okay, I think that during our term we have been working very close with the DEA. We are fighting our common enemy, enemy of the United States, enemy of Colombia, enemy of the world, that is narco-trafficking. As I always said, narco-trafficking is the one that is financing the violence in Colombia. It's the one that is financing the insurgent groups, the FARC, the ELN, the paramilitaries or the AUC, the common delinquency. And I think that all the efforts that we could do between the United States and Colombia and the whole world regarding this common enemy of narco-trafficking, it's going to be very important for us. So that's why I think that we have a very close relationship with the DEA, with the U.S. government, fighting this common enemy, and we hope that we could advance more in this war.
Mr. President, what would you say to the average American at home who's watching this? Because before I came to Bogota, I had an impression in my mind. A lot of Americans think, well, it's not safe to go to Colombia. People get kidnapped. At least in 24 hours I've been here, it seems Bogota is very safe. But what do you say to the folks back in South Florida and other people in America who are concerned about what's going on here in your country and the safety?
Yeah, we know that we have problems. We have problems, as I said before, because basically narco-trafficking is financing the violence in this country. But at the same time, I think it's a call up to the United States that it's a two-way war. Someone produces, but someone consuming. And that's why I think it's very important for the United States, as President Bush is doing, to bring back down consumption in the United States, demand in the United States. Now we're starting to have problems in Europe. If you see the last traces of drugs going out of Colombia go to Europe, and that's why we're calling the whole world. Why don't we unite all our efforts against this common enemy? We know that in Colombia we have problems, and you may have problems also in the United States in the cities, but we're fighting that, and I think that with the help of the world, and that's why I think Plan Colombia has been very important for us. 75% of Plan Colombia is going to be social investment, alternative development, strength of democracy and justice, and only 25% to really attacking narco-trafficking. And I think that's for the first time the big support that we're having from the United States. Near $250 to $300 million are going to alternative development and social investment, not only looking for the military side of the problem. So we're working here in the social side, the military side. The U.S. is working on consumption, demand in the United States, and that's the way really defeating narco-trafficking in the world.
Mr. President, this is my colleague from USA Today.
Hi, Mr. President. Congress has a number of issues before it now that involve Colombia, and what would you like Congress to focus on?
I think more on the social side. We're working now on the military side, but I think the social side is very important for us. Because if we are going to fight narco-trafficking, the first thing we have to do is giving alternative development to the peasants of this country. Now they only have sometimes only coca or only poppy to be cultivated. But if we invest in the social side, only alternative development, infrastructure, how can we bring our products out? And something that is very important for us, that it's commerce. More than money, sometimes where you're asking, it's give us commerce. And that's we're working very hard with President Bush and with the U.S. government in the ATPA, in the Andean Trade Preference Act. That's the way we not only extend the ATPA, but we enhance the ATPA. What we will create is alternative for our country, more jobs, quality of job, export, and that's the way also of attacking narco-trafficking. That's why we had our meeting in Lima this Saturday, and the President committed in helping us to get the ATPA through Congress, and we hope that we could get the ATPA before the 26th of May. That is going to be very important for Peru, for Colombia, for Bolivia, for Ecuador, and also for the United States.
Mr. President, with your permission, could we have a few words with Mr. Hutchinson? Mr. Hutchinson, how'd your meeting go with the President? What are your impressions on your trip so far here to Bogota?
Well, I've had a very informative trip to Bogota. This is my third trip here. President Pastrana and I have had occasion while I was in Congress to visit together, and I am just grateful for his leadership, for his strong stand, and the legacy he's built of partnership with the United States. The DEA has a strong presence here, and we have a presence here because we are welcome, and we are working hand in hand with the Colombian National Police and President Pastrana in solving a problem for both our countries, and that is the terrible impact of drugs and violence in our societies. So I had a great visit with President Pastrana, going everything from extradition issues to our hope that some of the leaders that are under indictment can be apprehended, and a greater sharing of intelligence and cooperation between our countries and the surrounding countries and their law enforcement components.
Mr. President, if there is one thing on your mind, one very important issue that you want the people of the United States to know about as we leave you, because we know your time is very short today, what would that be?
I think that create conscience in the United States, that also consumption in the United States create terrorism and violence in Colombia. As maybe the ads that the U.S. government put on the TV some weeks ago show that the thing that snuffing cocaine in New York or in San Francisco, it's giving money to buy an arm in Colombia to kill a Colombian or a family in Colombia. So this is a business that it's also globalized, and I think that's why we need to work together. Instead of pointing out, oh, you producers or you consuming, how can we work together to attacking this common enemy?
Finally, when you leave office, you ever think about what you're going to do? You have any plans yet?
The only thing I know is I'm going to be unemployed. You know, the 7 of August, huh?
Thank you very much, Mr.
Thank you very
President.
much.
We appreciate your time.
Yes.
Mr. Bush's proposal on the supplemental aid bill
Yes.
with more military aid seems to be in conflict with what it is that you actually want. He seems to be more focused on military aid and aid for narco-terrorism. What's your impressions of that?
Yeah, two things. One, but we need to, there's a supplementary on regarding the protection of the pipeline. That's going to be very important for us. At the end, we lost last year nearly $500 million because of the blow up of the pipeline by insurgent groups. That was money that was going to be invested in the poorest people of this country. So I think that protecting also U.S. interests in Colombia is very important for us. We know that we need to create the second anti-narcotics battalion, and that's why the U.S. is also supporting us. But I think also we are working to get more resources for the social side. And the most important thing for us is ATPA, more than resources for the social side given by the U.S. as donations or grants. What we need is commerce. If we have commerce, we will create a different environment and a best quality of life for many Colombians. And that's why we're working very hard on the ATPA.
Now, can you tell me what differences you see now in the U.S. treatment of Colombia between, say, the Clinton administration and the Bush administration?
No, I think the most important thing is this has been a bipartisan policy of the United States. And I think that's why it's very important for us that Democrats and Republicans are working together in supporting Colombia. And I think that has been very important for us, and we hope that that will keep in the U.S. Congress. The Democrats and Republicans are working for us, for Colombia, and against narco-trafficking in the world.
Now, if Mr. Uribe is elected and his ties to the paramilitaries, what kind of problems do you foresee in terms of his relationship with the U.S.?
Really, as you know, in Colombia, we are banned to speak about politics and banned to speak about the presidential candidate. So that's why I couldn't answer that question, because otherwise I'm going to be in difficulties. No, what we really hope also that we are creating a bipartisan support, also a multi-support, different parties and independents in regarding the fighting on drugs. And we hope that the policy that we are promoting is supporting but different parties, and that's also very important for us, that we are committed in this fight on drugs, and that we hope the United States keep that commitment on the fight on drugs, and the world help us in this fight on drugs.
Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you.
I'm going to exit.
Thank you very much, and I think I have also something for not for the big one. Thank you for coming on. Thank you for being with us.
Thank you again,
Thank you.
President. It's a pleasure.
Okay.